Okay, dear Judge HACHETT and Judge MATHIS, I'm addressing this letter to you because I have had so many unlawful arrests. Um, the last time I was arrested, it was on the Oral Roberts University campus. I am a former student of Oral Roberts University, and I came here and went up in a prayer tower and prayed for about an hour. 6 p.m. I left the prayer tower. I'm walking across the lot when a um, black man in a black truck um, pulled up and told me that he was going to have me arrested for being on the campus. And I said, well, I'm a former student here, and I want to go here in January, so I don't understand what the problem is. And he just started harassing me and telling me to get out the campus. He told me, in fact, not to ever come back to this campus again, is what he told me. And I started walking over to the Victory, which is a church that's on campus. That's actually where I was headed to go to the service that was going on. But when I went there, there was a security guard that told me that they wasn't having services there. And the parking lot was full of cars. They told me that they wasn't having service there. But he said, but there's a play across the street. So I started walking across the street, and the man in the black truck, was started following me, and then he went over there across the street to the church, like he was going to meet me there to arrest me there. So I left the and went back across the street on the ORU lot, and he swam around, and there was a black vehicle that kind of swam around and stopped where I was, and then it sped off. Um, but he met up with two white female officers. The man was Caucasian, older guy. He met with them uh, on the lot. They had two black police cars, and he was telling me that I needed to again get off the campus. He was asking me what was in my bags. Let me have your bag so I can see what was in your bags. And I said, well, you don't have a search warrant. And then the female officer asked me for my ID. I gave her my ID. And then they just told me that I had to leave the campus. And so I went over to the hotel, which was across the street, was harassed over there, and they told me that they would call the police on me if I didn't get out the hotel. I was trying to get in touch with some friends, but um, I got back on the campus and I was arrested um, by four male officers. And so when they took me to jail, they took me in the garage, uh, in the back of the jail cell, in the garage part of it, and they tried to put me in a blue dumpster. I was still in handcuffs, and I was just screaming and hollering and calling on God, and speaking in tongues and everything, just trying to reach God's ear. And they told me, well, we're not going to put you in a dumpster. We're going to put you in a cell next to the dumpster. And I said, well, I don't want to be in a cell next to the dumpster either. And they just began, they put me back into the jail, in a cell. And I was there for a night, and then they put me in a black van with black tinted windows and drove me over to another jail. And the jail was in Upsmoky or something like that, and I was there for about 3 nights. And when I got out, they didn't return all of my property. They said that my property was over um, in another place across the river. and they kept my computer, my book bag, which had my computer, two computers in it, and my phone, and um, it had a microphone for recording because I sing, and this isn't the first time. Um, another time, I I used to go to the Potter's house in Dallas, Texas, and there was a play that I was in called This Christmas, and a couple of years after that, um, we had the Mega Fest, and I went to the Mega Fest, and um, when um, the Wednesday after the Mega Fest was over, they took I went up to the Potter's house to try to find out if we were having another play or, what was the next thing that we were going to be doing. And there was a security guard that came out and told me that he was going to have me arrested for trespassing. And I said, look, I'm a part of the drama ministry here, and I just want to know what's the next thing we were doing. And he followed me all across the line, and and I said, look, I'm leaving then. I'm leaving. I'm just going to call my ride. And I started on the phone calling my ride, and he said, no, you're going to get arrested right now if you don't leave. So I had to tell him, reiterate to him so many times, I'm leaving, and I was walking away, and as I was walking away, he was calling the police and following me, uh, and when the police came, they put me in cuffs, and then I was arrested in St. Louis, Missouri at Bethesda Temple, much in the same way. Um, I had gotten with the youth pastor there and was supposed to be helping out with the youth. And I went up there on a Saturday just to plan and see if I can get in touch with him, what we were going to be doing. And next thing I know, I was surrounded about um, maybe about 6 or 7 officers, and they kept saying that I had a traffic ticket, which I did not have, um, and they arrested me, and I spent um, about 3 weeks in jail. I was arrested um, in Florida, Miami, Florida, on the bus. Um, there was this like Tyler Perry lookalike that met me in the mall, and I was so excited because I thought it was him. That's how much he looked like him. And he said, "Get out this mall, or I'm going to have you arrested for trespassing." I'm in the mall where the movie theater party is, um, and it was probably about 10 o'clock where the movie theater was, and they actually, I got on the bus, left like he told me to, and I got on the bus, and then paid my fare and everything, and two police officers um, actually a white female police officer and a white male police officer got on the bus. He tased me like you wouldn't believe. He tased me about 5 times. I was just sitting down on the floor and of the bus and under the camera, and he tased me about 5 times. Before that, he actually stopped the bus, made the bus driver stop driving, and he let all the passengers off and had the bus driver drive off, leaving the passengers. And it was only one passenger on there with me, and there was a guy that was really trying to get the police off me and trying to calm the police down, but he just, the police officer just charged at him. It was just really, I thought he was going to shoot the guy, but he ended up tasing me and I spent six months in jail. I was in jail from June to December, 2 weeks before Christmas. And then again, I was arrested in South Beach on Memorial Day. It was at nighttime after 8 p.m. in front of Fat Tuesdays. I had a public defender that lied about the location, lied to the courts, and told the courts that I could not, um, that she lied to the courts and told the courts that I was at Mango's, which I was not. It was in front of Fat Tuesday. She lied and told them that there were no cameras there, which there were cameras there. They lied. The police lied and said that I hit them, and I did not hit the police officer, not one time. So they was talking about battery of a Leo, and they were saying that I could get up to 5 years in prison for that. And it was in front of a huge crowd because Memorial Day is really a big deal. There's more black people that you ever see in South Beach, and they were all there in front of me where I got arrested. And then in Barnes Hospital, I was in St. Louis, Missouri, which I used to work there I worked for BJC for about 5 years, but I worked for Washington University for 3 years. But I was actually arrested twice, again for trespassing, just sitting in the waiting room. They told me that I was trespassing. Um, Another ugly thing that happened at Barnes Jewish Hospital was in St. Louis, Missouri, was I was sitting in the waiting room again, and I was taken down to the ground floor on several times, taken down to the ground floor, and there was wires hanging from the ceiling. They handcuffed me to a chair, and they just began interrogating me about, why was I there in the hospital, and just held me there for the longest. And this happened about 4 times actually. And one time an officer had literally bent my hand back like this while I was still in the cuffs. And he just made me feel like I was cattle or something. It was just so horrible. And another time I was sitting in the waiting room at Barnes Hospital. I was taken into a room in the back of the emergency room. It looked like a cell to me. And I was thrown to a mat and choked by a police officer. Then he got me up and they put me on this bed. The police officers put me on the bed, and there was handcuffs all down the bed. I was cuffed from my arms down to my hands, all the way down to my legs were cuffed onto the bed. And about 12 police officers took turns choking me, literally choking me, and they choked me, and they were taking turns sticking their thumb in my neck, and they were ordering me to shut up, just shut the fuck up, this is what they were telling me. Excuse my French, and I just said, there was one female officer there, and she was also sticking her thumb in my throat and telling me to shut up. And this was actually after I had did, I wasn't doing any spoken word or anything, but I did like a freestyle of a rhyme called "Do You Have to Cuff Me" on YouTube. This was right after that. So when they were telling me to shut up, I figured that it was because of that. And so, but I was basically trying to raise awareness of what was happening to me. And another time I was arrested in Walmart in Atlanta, Georgia. And in Atlanta, Georgia, I had made my purchase, and I'm on my way out the door when the officer came, big black officer came and took me to the back and rolled back the cameras when I had made my purchase, and we watched me make my purchase right there in front of the cameras, and they just took me to jail anyway. I've never stolen anything in my life. They said that I had stolen something, which they knew I did not steal because we all witnessed it right there on the camera, and they just took me to jail anyway. And I am a Christian woman. I've been saved since I was 7 and in ministry since I was 17. And I just couldn't believe that, they would pick me for this, the caliber woman that I am. I just can't believe that they would pick me for this. Another time I was arrested at Florissant Valley Community College. And they had took me out the campus as I was talking to counselors, and I was actually talking to counselors about what had happened to me, and I'm just trying to get it over to them. And there was a black tall police officer that was just standing there at like a podium or something. But the police came out. They were white police officers, and um, they cuffed me and pulled me off campus as I was trying to tell them, about my situation. And they held me up in the air, and they put me into an ambulance. When I got to Christian Hospital in St. Louis, Missouri, they there was about 7 officers that surrounded me. A nurse came, gave me a shot on my backside, and when I woke up, I had a gorge in my throat. They had operated on my throat. My throat was open, and it had a gorge in it. And they lied and said that I came in for an abscess, which I did not come in for an abscess. I did not have an abscess on my throat at all. And but that was a forced operation there, and it was also unlawful, just as the arrest was unlawful. And um, I had called legal aid, which I was instructed to, but I just get to run around, and that's why I'm telling you, um, Judge HACHETT and Judge MATHIS. At Miami-Dade Community College, I was also a graduate for culinary arts, and they my thing, book bags were stolen off the beach, and it had my school ID in there. So I went to get another school ID, and there was a female officer that came out and told me, "Don't you come back to this campus again." And I'm not causing any problems, causing any scenes, or starting up a ruckus or anything. She just told me that I could not, to get off the campus, and I could not come back to the campus again. So that's the second time that third time actually that has happened, because it happened at Oral Roberts University last week, and it happened Florissant Valley Community College, and it also happened at Miami-Dade Community College. I was arrested at the laundromat in Florissant, Missouri, um, right across the street from Berkeley High School. They were having a function that Sunday, and I was just in the laundromat just washing when the police came in there, and he pulled on my arm so hard that he pulled the sleeve right off of my leather jacket. It just tore. He pulled the sleeve off my leather jacket, and he told me that I was trespassing. Each time that I was arrested, they told me that I was trespassing. How could you be trespassing at a laundromat washing your clothes? So I'm in jail for 3 weeks for that. And then at Lambert Airport, um, it actually wasn't at the airport, but it was like on Lindbergh on the grounds where you do flight attendant training at for Spirit Airlines, and I had applied, and I had went up there to speak with the recruiter, and once my friend dropped me off, the police came up there and told me that I had to leave, that I could not see the recruiter, and that I was trespassing. And so it was a black officer by the name of Stringman, and which was really frightening to me. And he had a white female officer with him, and then they called over other officers. Another police car pulled up, so I got 2 police cars on me. The rest of them were white, and they were telling me that that I was trespassing. And I'm really cooperative with the police officers. If they tell me I'm trespassing, I'll just say, hey, well, I'll leave, I'll walk away. But they're not letting me do that. If I leave and walk away, they grab me and they cuff me anyway. And so that's exactly what happened. Or they won't let me call my ride back to come pick me up. They would just cuff me anyway, and that's exactly how it's been happening. So I did go to court in St. Louis, Missouri to file a restraining order because of all of this. And at the courthouse, there was a police officer that came, and he snatched the restraining orders out of my hand, and they began cuffing me and telling me that I was trespassing. And I said, look, I'm just trying to get a restraining order. And he said, well, you can't get it today. You have to come back another day and get it. And they cuffed me, and they threw me to the floor, and I was just screaming out to the people that was out there in the hallway, please call the news, please call the news. And I have called the news myself, but the news would not take my story. They just keep telling me that I have to get a lawyer. And for this reason, I am. I wrote a play about it to raise awareness of my situation. A play called Cuffs, and also a play called Black Butterfly, which is sung by Denise Williams. I have the same birthday as Denise Williams, June the 3rd. My birthday is actually June the 3rd, 1972. And, but this has happened for too long, and I'm tired. I'm getting older, and I am a single mom in retrieve of my son, and I also want to retrieve the items that I had because the jail here in Tulsa, where I am right now, when I was arrested last week at Oral Roberts University, they kept my property. I have 2 computers, 3 pair of bad heels, 1 cell phone, and 2 flat irons, because I do hair too. And I just really wanted you to know they actually put me in a jail diversion program, and the public defender that I have told me that if I go through this jail diversion program for 1 year, where they would keep monitor me for a whole year, that the police would drop the charges, um, or might drop the charges. Um, so I have been cooperative with the division program, going to court once a month, um, and uh, I just she basically told me that they would have to extend it. She lied and said that I had a felony, which I don't. I've never had a felony. She told me that when I got arrested off of the bus that I had a felony for that. But truth is, the courts never gave me a felony or a misdemeanor or anything like that. Um, but this um, my public defender is really someone that I don't feel that I have in my corner. Um, I really feel like she just wants to make things harder for me. And um, I had a house. I had a house in Miami with a lake in the back, but sudden nightmares about that lake. Um, I had to leave. So, um, needless to say, I will be going to court as they ordered me to. But what I'm asking for you is to help me with this these cases, um, and to if you're not able to give me or whatnot, please send me help. My name is Shirley Jean Wade, and I'm signing off for Do You Have a Copy for Tigers Only.